Whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Okay, let's go ahead and get started.
So the speaker is not in jail, right?
No, he's a
Chuck said he was detained.
That started us all going, so, detained by who?
He's lunching with the PTA.
Oh, how exciting.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah, they'll sign him up to work a bake sale or something. Well, why don't we talk religious liberties?
Okay.
What's happening over here as far as religious liberties today?
We've got some, have some colleagues that are working on it, and we're still in process. I checked on it today because I want to take it to our caucus for a caucus discussion. And it probably will not happen until the week after next.
Oh, really?
For our caucus. That doesn't mean their legislation might not be ready in some form next week, but just for our caucus presentation, probably the week after.
So as far as you know, it's one bill, or is it
I
a pair
think
of
there
bills?
are different scenarios. There's certainly is one bill that's being worked on that will address both anti-discrimination and religious liberties. And then there are at least one or two other bills that are addressing religious liberties.
So would this replace anything being considered in the Senate, or is this meant to compete with those bills? Because obviously you've seen those two bills, at least Urquhart and Tobacco.
So it's not necessarily meant to compete. We're just kind of allowing a free flow of ideas. And as you know, legislators are free to go forward and sponsor whatever they desire. So right now we're letting it just kind of work its way through the system. And as I said, we're working on some comprehensive legislation here. And there are other pieces both in the House and the Senate as well.
So again, I just want to be clear. There is a proposal for one bill, but there could be several then.
Yes, that's correct. Now, whether or not the legislators will all decide to go forward with their bills, but I know that there are three in the House, I believe, and there may be more than that are percolating.
Are any of these backed by leadership at this point, the joint bill, for
We haven't
example?
taken a position on anything. We're still, these bill sponsors are still in the creation phase. And so we haven't seen the finished product yet.
I'm just wondering though, because it sounded like early on in the session after the church's statement, leadership was interested in seeing a single bill that would encompass both issues.
I'll give you my viewpoint on it.
Excellent.
I think it needs to be a comprehensive piece of legislation.
And why?
in a bill, so that we can balance the different interests. I think you have a little bit of jeopardy if you advance half of the solution and the other half doesn't make it through the process. So if we do it together, then we all swim, or we don't.
What's your prediction as majority leader in terms of support for a joint bill? What's your sense of that?
I think there will be good support for a joint bill depending how it's crafted. So it's in process. I haven't seen it. What I'll say is I think it's possible to craft a bill that will have support of House leadership. I'm not speaking for the Senate. But that's yet to be determined. There's a variety of stakeholders involved.
When you say House leadership, what about your caucus? Do you think you can get your caucus on board?
I don't know yet. That's what I was actually hoping to take it to the caucus sooner than looks like I'll be able to.
Would the joint bill originate in the House or in the Senate?
Well, I expect that we will have a joint bill, or let me call it a comprehensive bill, that will originate in the House, and it's possible there will be one in the Senate as well. We invite Representative Gibson to join me.
Yeah, I'm just here, so I'll be fine.
I think there are probably some Medicaid questions.
Yeah, so I had a question about what you thought for, well, this morning there was a coalition of health advocacy organizations that announced an alliance to support Healthy Utah and is asking legislators to work with the governor to reach an agreement. And they're saying that the patients that they represent can't go another year without a change. So how does that influence your position or decision making?
I think legislators are well aware that there are people in need, there are people that need coverage and that have a demand for medical services. And so we are working on this. We work on this every day. And because we know it's important and we know that there are people that can't wait. And frankly, we're trying to find a solution that will help people that will also be sustainable, so we don't give them something and then have to take it away while they are partway through their treatment. We don't think they're well served to give somebody they start the treatment and take it away.
Any progress on Medicaid expansion? The House is.
Well, I suppose it depends how you define progress. We refine things, we learn things every day. You wouldn't believe how much of my day is spent on Medicaid expansion. But there are many good minds in the House and the Senate, the executive branch, and elsewhere that are engaged in this and trying to come up with a solution. We continue to look at other states to see what flexibility and what's happened in other states so that we can learn from that.
Anything new on the flexibility angle, though? I know you had that initial conversation and you've gotten some other information.
No, we've done some analysis on what other states have achieved and accomplished, and we're working on that still.
The Senate's working, the Senate's working through two proposals right now. Do you see the House just getting on board with whatever comes out of the Senate potentially?
It's possible. You know, I know we have the two bills, Senator Shiozawa and Senator Christensen, that are going to committee this week, I believe. And then it'll go to the Senate floor, so that'll probably be several days before we see it over here. So between now and then, we'll be working very diligently to refine a solution. But we continue to work and have communication with the executive branch and with our colleagues in the Senate, trying to find something that's affordable, that's sustainable, and addresses the uncertainty.
How's it going with the executive branch since that phone call?
You know, I think the executive branch was interested to learn that there's some additional flexibility that had been given other states, and I think that gives them some flexibility to look at some different options as well, as it does us for some legislative options and modifications for expansion.
A very diplomatic answer. We seem to be touching on two of the big topics, two or three big topics this session. Anything new on gas tax? Or is that going to wait until you deal with
Transportation issues are still percolating. They're active. You know, we had a group that met this morning of legislators and other interested parties that talked about transportations. So our leadership team is going to continue to work on that. We're setting aside some time to work specifically on transportation and some of the other issues a little more in depth. So it's all, you know, it's being assembled. All the parts are being assembled, the ideas are being vetted, and we're hoping soon that we can see a product to see if we want to drive it or not.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
So basically, all three of these giant issues are going to pile up at the very end of the session.
Yeah, we actually, our hope was that we could get out and get after some of these things early on. In my opinion, we had a quick start to the session. We got right after from the very first day. But there are so many issues. You know, we have transportation, education, finding air quality, water development, prison relocation, Medicaid expansion. I cannot remember another session that has had so many substantive issues.
Official state dog.
That doesn't make the cut.
You have a position on the official state dog?
It'd be good to take up another year, I think.
That's 7 years of doctors.
Let's do a couple more questions.
Do you feel like you're able to get through all of these bills and things? Or you have a record number of bills requested this year, but do you feel like you're able to address them in time?
I think the big policy decisions, we will have time to address it, both in our caucuses and in the House floor and the Senate. So I think there's time to do that. But it may be that we don't come to agreement on some of these issues. And we don't have to do everything this year. There's a lot of things that we're working on and that I guess we hope come to fruition. But if we can't find the right solution, then there's always another year. As far as the overall number of bills, our staff are really busy this year, working, drafting bills, drafting substitutes. We are working them hard. Certainly, all of the proposed legislation will not pass, never passes every year. But it will, I think, be vetted a little bit more thoroughly this year.
What may not happen this year? Any of these big ones?
It's too early to say. I don't think we know. I mean, we haven't written anything off. We hope, we still have hope to address all of these things. But we haven't come to grips with what the best solution is yet. And so it may be that we come to the end of the road and say, that's the best we can do this year, but we're not comfortable with it. And then it'll have to be carried forward to another session.
One issue you won't have to deal with though is the constitutional carry. It looks like that's gonna go to interim. Was that a relief to see that
Well, let
go?
me just say that we appreciate the governor and Representative Aldo working that out. And, I think many issues are better resolved by the parties coming together and finding common ground rather than always having a legislative fix. And I think that's a great example of how the parties can get together and not depend on the legislature for everything.
Well, they're gonna depend on you next year to pass something. They're just gonna deal with it in interim, is my understanding.
That's next year. We got a full plate this year.
Okay, thanks guys.
So next year,